Morning Round, a new study estimates more than 1 in 10 older Americans binge drink. That's an increase from the previous decade. Binge drinking is defined as 5 or more drinks at a time for men and 4 or more drinks at a time for women. The study out this morning determined binge drinkers 65 and older were more likely to be men. They're also more likely to use tobacco or cannabis. Researchers say the habit can be more dangerous for older people, putting them at risk for a range of health problems. Our Dr. Tara Narula is here to tell us more. Doc, I found this really interesting. An estimated 70% of all hospitalized older persons and up to 50% of nursing home residents have alcohol-related problems in general. Why is binge drinking specifically affecting these older Americans?
Well, when we think about binge drinking, the image we usually think about is younger adults or college students. But this is, in fact, a growing trend in older Americans. And it's been underreported in both the scientific literature and in the media. But the problem is that the alcohol has a very strong effect on people who are older. They're more vulnerable to the health problems than even a younger population. And when you look at the percentages, as you mentioned, currently around 10.6% of older Americans are binge drinkers. In the previous decade, it was anywhere from 7 to 9%. So that number is growing. Also growing, just general increased alcohol use and any sort of harmful alcohol use.
So is it more dangerous for older Americans?
It can be, and there are a couple of reasons why. So they are more sensitive to the alcohol, so they are higher risk of getting impaired at the same level that might not impair somebody who's younger. Many of them have chronic health problems. In fact, in this series, 20 to 40% of them had things like diabetes or hypertension or cardiovascular disease, so that can exacerbate those. It can allow them to develop new problems, things like pancreatitis or gastritis or certain cancers. Many of them are on prescription medications that might interfere, and also it increases the risk of injury or accidents and falls in people who already may have issues with balance or coordination or reflex.
And inflammation.
And generalized inflammation.
Yeah.
So are there guidelines for binge drinking in older Americans?
Well, the recommendations are that really no American who's older should be drinking more than 3 drinks a day. And in fact, if you have some sort of chronic disease or on a prescription med, you should speak to your doctor, and they may recommend something even lower. Low-risk drinking is really less than 2 drinks a day for a man or 1 drink a day for a woman. But really important that doctors really screen for this and also educate about it, because a lot of these people may be at home drinking alone. Nobody really knows what's going on. Yeah. The problems may be attributed to, oh, they're just getting older. That's why they're more confused or they're falling. So it can be a little bit silent unless we actually look for it.
In fact, they said the metabolism of a person who's 65 years or older, drinking 2 or 3 beers at that age has the same effect as 7 or 8 at the age of 20.
Right. So they're exquisitely sensitive to it.
So what do you do, Tara, if you have a loved one who's doing this? How do you deal with this?
That's a great question, because I think a lot of people tend to shy away from it or avoid it. They don't know how to deal with it. So I think it's important to be compassionate, loving, and respectful to these older Americans who you may feel have a problem, but also you want to be proactive. And so you want to address it, because early intervention is really essential. So, one of the things that can be helpful is seeking advice from a professional who can really guide you towards what type of treatment they should be getting. And interestingly, also how to approach them, right? Should it be a doctor that approaches them? Maybe a friend might be better, or a family member. And all of the recommendations really say, look, don't use the word alcoholic. Don't talk to them while they may be intoxicated. Wait till they're sober. Be patient. Be direct with them.
But it sounds like it's a thin line between those two things.
It is. But you don't want to treat them like a child. You want to treat them like an adult with respect when you approach them.
All right, Tara, thank you so much.